Hello, this is Joseph Gillette coming at you with Intelligence Storm from Global Intel Hub. And today's topic is Project Paperclip. And Project Paperclip was a secret, now not so secret, but it was secret at the time, government program to bring Nazi scientists to the United States who could help develop weapon systems and space systems, rockets, most famously Werner von Braun and Dr. Werner von Braun. And those scientists actually ran NASA for a very long time, and they were in South Florida, in Cape Canaveral. They were in Huntsville, Alabama. I grew up in South Florida, so I had a lot of exposure to NASA. I went to space camp. I met a lot of these guys. I was born in 1980, so the people I met would have been either retired or astronauts in the space shuttle program, and technical people who lived near me. So there's a lot of documentation out there. So the purpose of this composition that I'm putting together is that researchers look at something like Project Paperclip and they look at documents. And there's a lot of documents out there, and you don't know if something's real or not. The problem is there's the possibility someone could create a fake document, or even in the case of war, like for example during World War II, the Germans may have been creating fake documents as a information warfare strategy. So for example, let's say that I'm the enemy and I don't have any weapons that can match the U.S. weapons. Maybe I'll create documents that say I'm working on a secret wonder weapon that can eliminate everyone on the planet, but I'm not really doing it. I may create a fake story, and this is known as psychological operations, where basically you create a narrative, and that narrative is backed up by witness testimony, who can be paid witnesses, can be documents. So you don't know when you're just researching something like Paperclip that happened in the 1940s, 50s. What year is it? It's 2024, so this was a really long time ago. This was 70 years ago. You don't know what's real and what's not. Most of the people are not alive anymore, so you can't ask questions. Now, I follow a blog on, I follow 4 people on YouTube. I have a very, I don't really engage in the internet culture. I seek out. I don't let things come to me. I seek out. So I don't really subscribe to a lot. But the few people I do subscribe to are Dr. Michael Salla, who is the leader of exopolitics, kind of created the topic, and a couple other bloggers, something called Yes Theory. It's this young guy, and he went to Iraq and Nepal, getting honey from the mountains, just kind of interesting stuff while I was sick. And this guy I really like, Peter Santinello, and I found him because he did a couple in-depth, I'm not sure what you call them, they're not really documentaries. He just is a video blogger, and he goes into places and he just talks to people, and these people give him a local story. So I've watched him do on some cities that are deteriorating. Like he did one in Washington, D.C. with a young, successful guy, like the difference between the, I forget the name of the town, but like you go over the bridge and you've got this like fancy kind of suburb for the D.C. employees, and then you've got this kind of squalor on the other side of the bridge that's kind of poor, and people kind of forgot about it. And he does these very honest and just real productions, and I really like him a lot. And he went to my favorite one is he goes to West Virginia and into these hollers that are just places that when you live in the South you come across these things. And so he's just a very sort of honest, real reporter. He's not an in-depth researcher, or he's just kind of talking to people, which is kind of what journalists used to be like and should be like. So he's kind of really an amateur journalist, and I'm not in any way saying he's not professional. His productions are A quality, and he's at the top of my short list. So So he went to Huntsville, Alabama, and he spent an hour. Well, it's an hour long with a witness who is the direct blood grandchild of a paperclip scientist. And they interview his mother, who came here as a child from Germany, and he has documents. Let's just watch a little bit from this.
Here's where he signed it to my grandfather. One of our brothers, 52.
Von Braun.
Yeah, that's an original signature.
So
52.
that's a document that was given to him by Dr. Warner von Braun and signed because his father was part of the, they called it the team. His grandfather. And he has all these documents. And he knows the other people, the other paperclip scientists who were part of this project in Huntsville to develop rockets and other advanced technology.
Thanking him for his participation. And this is
Das
one of our
Mars
brothers.
project.
Yeah, this is his theory. It bases on flight to Mars. And it's all in German. And on the V2 rocket, it's an actual photograph from Peenemünde. That's an actual tactical launch abort in the woods, you see. And so there's a diagram of the V2. If you could read technical German, it's all in German. You would have a great time with this book. There's photographs of the Peenemünde, the test site where they worked on the.
So his grandfather actually worked at Peenemünde in Germany, and they were brought here. And let me go back to where they interview his mother. She's the nicest, sweetest old lady.
Landshut, I guess 3 years or something like that until they put us on this hospital ship. And it took 3 weeks, but we weren't allowed to contact anybody, talk with anybody.
So I'm going to put the link to the video in the end, and you really have to watch the whole thing. But what's amazing about this is that
Huntsville's the heart of Alabama. You know, that's the way I like to look at it.
So you're downtown here. I haven't seen one homeless person. Look at these places. They're huge.
At one, 60s and 70s, in the main building, but I was told that a lot of that material was getting destroyed in unusual fires.
So what's amazing about this, and I encourage everyone to watch the whole hour because it's just information packed. This is a real witness, and when we're researching something as interesting and controversial as Paperclip, we're not often given the ability to actually listen to a real person who lived through this, and his mother, who is a child, who so the mother in the video, her father was the actual German scientist who worked at Peenemünde. He worked on secret Nazi programs. They brought him to United States, gave him a visa, gave him citizenship. They worked at White Sands. And this was all before, this was before the CIA. This was before the modern security state. So this was a very interesting program. And they came to Huntsville, Alabama, and they're still there to this day. So this is the blood grandson of a real German paperclip scientist. And interestingly, the guy is really solid. He worked for the U.S. military, did a tour in Iraq, had a lot of experiences, and himself is actually a very strong witness because he knows all this story. He has a box of documents, and he said now that he's not going to give them up because they're trying to collect all these documents that the families have, and they're being destroyed in mysterious fires. So his box of documents from that time represent a real treasure of intelligence that you just can't find in a museum or a library, for example. And we all know the reasons why, which is the topic for another video. So anyway, this really impressed me, and if you're interested in this topic, this is definitely worth a watch. And just to tie this to modern history, the paperclip that created the rocket program are the rockets we used up until the shuttle program. So this was the foundation of our current space program, was taken from Project Paperclip. So it's not just something like from ancient history. These were the engineers that created the rocket program that up until their retirement, and they retired anywhere from the 1970s to the 1980s, a couple of them in the 1990s because they were middle-aged when they came here. But that's the foundation of NASA. I mean, NASA in the 1960s was all Germans, was all run by ex-Nazis. So it was very controversial. But this is important for the current history of where we are today. And I mean, not those same individuals, but their legacy and their, in many cases, like this guy, blood relatives actually are still running the space program today. And this book that he shows is a book written by Wernher von Braun, How to Go to Mars. And that's what SpaceX is doing. And interestingly, SpaceX now makes almost basically 100% of NASA rockets. NASA only made Artemis and a couple small probes and things like that, but it's all been commercialized privately. So this was basically the last big government project in the space race and for kind of secret advanced technology weapons development. And it's still alive in Huntsville, Alabama. In Huntsville, you have now just the whole defense industry and the space industry. So this is really interesting, and it's a great find. And thank you, Peter Santinello, for going down there and doing this. This is just gold for researchers and people who are interested in this topic. Thank you, and I'm going to write about it and put this in the comments on your videos. We greatly appreciate it, that this is in my opinion, your #1 project that you've done. And we'd like to see more like this, where we're uncovering kind of the real history of America by talking to real people like Theo. Well done. Thank you guys, and please watch his video.